You have tuned in to the Central Indiana Sports Reports Boys Basketball Scoreboard for Friday night's games in Blackford, Delaware, Grant, Howard, Madison-Tipton, and Northern Hamilton counties. Segment 118.1.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report, please accept our deepest gratitude. Today is December 14th, 2024. It's a Saturday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt. Producer Susie Mengelt is sound asleep. Coming up after the area scores, we'll break down each of Friday's 17 games. I was at Madison-Grant and did a report on the Argyle's win over Elwood. I also talked with Madison-Grant head coach Josh Hendrickson, Argyle seniors Ike Almeida and Luke Gilman, and Elwood head coach Ryan Van Skyok. Michelle Garmon was in Rushville for Western's surprise win over Tipton. She spoke with Tipton head coach Cliff Hawkins and Western's Cam Bennington. Scott Hunt covered Oak Hill's thrilling win over Mississinewa for the Marion-Chronicle. He has a report coming up for us. And Rob Hunt of the Herald Bulletin covered Lapel and Wapahani. And Grant Shouse of the Action Sports Network called Marion-Richmond and also has a report. I also spoke with Oak Hill head coach Kevin Renbarger, Mississinewa's Josh Brooks, Frankton's Brent Brobston, Blackford's Aaron Daniels, Lapel's Kevin Cherry, and Tri-Central head coach Cam Hindman on their team's games on Friday. Buckle in, folks. It's gonna be a good one. Here are Friday's local scores. Oak Hill beat Mississinewa 40-38 in a thriller in a CIC and Grant County contest. Frankton opened CIC play with a 50-33 win over Eastbrook. Madison-Grant improved to 3-0 with a 52-34 win over Elwood. Blackford defeated Alexandria 66-53. It was number 1 Wapahani 55, Lapel 44. Western upset Tipton 42-32. Eastern got by Tri-Central 71-61. Marion dominated Richmond 73-59. Kokomo stayed unbeaten with an 84-67 win over McCutcheon. Mount Vernon beat Pendleton Heights in a big Hoosier Heritage contest 44-39. Delta beat rival Yorktown 53-45. Taylor 45, Northwestern 36. The Titans are 4-0. Sheridan won 53-33 over Clinton Central in a Hoosier Heartland Conference game. Hamilton Heights dominated Logansport 88-50. West Dell pounded Union 78-31. Blue River won its first game of the year 65-60 over Cowan in overtime. Both teams were 0-4 coming in. And Centerville defeated Daleville 81-43. Some other local games of interest. Greenfield Central beat New Palestine 74-57 in a game that featured the two teams that most people thought are the best two teams in the Hoosier Heritage. Future Connecticut Husky Braylon Mullen scored 37 in that one. Staying in that conference, Shelbyville beat Newcastle 70-61. Shenandoah got by Tri 62-49. In Hamilton County, Westfield 53, Garin Catholic 40, Garin Catholic's first loss. Noblesville beat Carmel 50-37, Hamilton Southeastern 57, Brebeuf 42, and also in the Hoosier Crossroads, Zionsville 77, Lawrence Central 60. In the Lafayette area, Jeff beat Harrison 48-42 in overtime. Central Catholic beat Covington 47-38. West Lafayette 81, Crawfordsville 41. Frontier handed Rossville its first loss 73-70. Clinton Prairie won a Hoosier Heartland game 61-45 over Delphi. Carroll 52, Caston 43. Northeastern beat Eastern Hancock 51-35. Mechanic-Wall remained unbeaten with a 71-44 win over winless Wabash. Peru 71, Southwood 59, Rochester 59, North Judson 43, Tri-West 79, Frankfort 43. Ben Davis beat Franklin Central 53-38. Crispus Attucks beat Warren Central 63-55, big win for them. And Bluffton, which hosts Elwood on Saturday, beat Lakeland Christian 54-26 on a busy Friday night in high school boys basketball. Before we move on to our game recaps, please go right now and like, subscribe, or follow us on whatever podcasting host you're listening to now so you don't miss a single segment. We are also now on YouTube. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report. Thank you. Oak Hill beat Mississinewa 40-38 in Gas City on Friday night in the Central Indiana Sports Report game of the night. Oak Hill's now 3-2 overall. It was their CIC opener for both teams. Mississinewa is now 1-3 and 0-1 in conference. Here's the Marion Chronicle's Scott Hunt with a report.
Well, Scott, just as we expected, we got a really good one on Friday at Mississinewa.
Good in the respect that it was competitive.
Right.
It was a pretty grimy game. But neither team was great. I mean, there's still some early season. Both teams were very inexperienced coming in to the season. So, but as you know, as the rivalry between Oak Hill and Mississinewa goes, a lot of intensity. Kids, played their butts off and came out to be a 2-point difference in favor of the Golden Eagles.
What was the biggest difference, you think?
Talking to Coach Brooks after the game from Mississinewa, I asked him that question, and he was adamant about the 15 turnovers, which and that was huge. Obviously, 15 turnovers when Oak Hill only turns it over 7 or 8 times, that's a pretty big difference. But the problem with those turnovers, especially in the first half, is that they were Jace Tonical steals and buckets for Oak Hill. At least he estimated 12 points worth of
Right.
Jace's 22. Jace had 22 for the game, and I know he had 4 or 5 steals that went directly for layups and buckets in the first half, and Jace scored the Oak Hill's last 12 points of the first quarter, and they ended up taking a 16-11 lead after the first quarter, and then Mississinewa had a little run to start the second quarter, ended up with a 2-point lead at halftime, and just Oak Hill was up 32-28 after 3, and then got up 9 early in the fourth quarter, and then went more than 5 minutes without scoring a point. And Mississinewa they scored an 8-0 run. Can't even read my own writing. An 8-0 run to get within. They got within 1 with 2 minutes to go. Tonical hit 3 or 4 free throws in the last 20 seconds and allowed Oak Hill to hang on. One of the things that was disappointing. I felt like Mississinewa did a pretty good job defending Tonical. He had 14 points in the first half, 14 of his 22 in the first half, and only had 1 field goal, 2 field goals, and were both in the third quarter. All his points in the fourth quarter were from the free throw line. But that was the one thing. Tonical had 22. R.J. Sugar had a nice night. Hit a big three in the fourth quarter early, off an offensive rebound that Coach Brooks was really disappointed about, and they had those two scored the 37 of Oak Hill's 40 points. That's what Coach Brooks said was he felt like, you hold Jace to basically what his average is, and Sugar to right around his average, and the rest of the team to 3 points. You feel like you should win the game. I think both Mississinewa and Oak Hill are similar right now in the respect that they're both pretty good defensive teams. I was impressed with the way both teams defended each other, but they're also outside of for Oak Hill, outside of Chronicle and Sugar, they're not getting any offensive production out of the rest of the kids. They got good minutes off the bench from Landon Watts, who came in and did a nice job off on the boards and defensively, and um, another kid, Luke Elzinga, who was playing sick, came in and did a nice job defensively. Uh, Beckham Lamb he's just a really good athlete. If you watch him play any sport, he's all over the place all the time, and he did a nice job. They just, Oak Hill was 14 of 44 from the field, and 13 of those field goals were between Tonagel and Sugar. Um, Big night for Miss Senegal senior Keontae Woods, who is the most experienced player on the Indians roster. He had 16 points and 10 rebounds. Freshman Ravion Fetz hit 3 threes and finished with 9 for Ole Miss. But just neither team's getting secondary scoring. I think Mississippi's had it from Fetz and Woods are probably going to be their two scorers most nights are going to be their top two scorers. Seth Yoder has shown some ability to knock down threes, and he was limited to just one. He kind of dealt with foul trouble for the Indians tonight. Trayvon Jackson Van Landingham had a really nice game up at Huntington, and he was like 2 for 6 from the floor. He had 6 rebounds too. Just they're trying to both teams are trying to find complementary and supplementary scoring to the kids they expect to go around the kids that they're going to lean on to carry that load. And right now, neither team is having a consistent success with it. They're both 4 or 5 games in, so
The good news for Mississippi, of course, is that the Grant 4 tournament is just 2 weeks away. They should get another shot at them.
Potentially, yeah. It's I think they get Madison-Grant in the first round. Oak Hill and Eastbrook playing the first round. So I found out an interesting tidbit from Coach Renbarger at Oak Hill a couple weeks ago when I was doing a preview. Is Oak Hill's no stranger to winning Grant 4 tournaments, but they've never won one under him on their home floor, and it's at Oak Hill. So, he was. I have covered a couple Grant 4s out there, and the year prior to them winning the state championship, they had all those kids were juniors that won that state the next year, and they just laid an egg against Mississippi, and Mississippi ended up winning that year. It's pretty much been the outside of 1 year, I believe, that when Madison Grant won it, Mississippi and Oak Hill have taken turns winning the county championship. I think Eastbrook might have won them early in my tenure at the Chronicle Tribune too. But tonight, I've thought, before I saw a second of basketball this year, that I feel like this year's Grant 4 tournament is going to be up for grabs, and I really feel like any one of I've never felt before like any of the four teams could win it, but I really think that um, any one of the four Grant County teams could walk out of Oak Hill that night, December 28th, with the championship. Any one of them can do it.
And I don't think there's any doubt that any of the four could do it, but I fully expect to see a rematch of the one you saw tonight in the championship game. I think especially early in the year, those two teams are going to be the best two in that tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be a bit surprised either. Those early games tend to the semifinal games tend to have some
That's
strangeness and
true.
some surprises that happen. Even last year, Mississinawa won the Grant Four out at Madison-Grant, but Eastbrook had a 3-pointer at the buzzer. It was a 3-pointer at the buzzer away from knocking them out in the in the semifinals. And Eastbrook kind of struggled all year last year, but and their leading scorer, Jaden Younts, who's a dead-eye 3-point shooter, was the kid that put the ball up at the end of the game. And from where I was sitting, it was dead on line. It just bounded a little bit short, came up a little bit short and off the rim. And, that it was Mississinawa was that close to getting, and chances are, high school kids are, Eastbrook was down and Mississinawa had a lot of a senior laden group that had high expectations for themselves. They may have been looking past, Eastbrook, but for whatever reason, Eastbrook hung in and made plays when they needed to and kept themselves in the game and almost shocked the Indians, but almost as what they almost as only good in horseshoes and hand grenades or whatever
Sure.
the old saying. I was just gonna repeat myself that those semifinal games are
Yeah.
when the strangeness kind of creeps in.
I don't think the girls' Grant Four tournament's going to be quite as good.
No, I just I'm going out to Oak Hill in the morning. Well, matinee game tomorrow between um, Mississinawa and Oak Hill, and um,
Oak Hill
I
seems to get more impressive every single outing.
yeah, they do. They're and I don't even think they're they've come close to their best yet. I know, it's going to be. I'm looking down the road a piece to see when the Oak Hill Alexandria game is going to be played,
Late.
and I think probably Oak Hill is the only team in the CIC that might be able to challenge
No question.
Alexandria.
No
They're,
question.
and that's a lot of that's because of Oak Hill's size and the their ability to defend. You know, Jacqueline Hoser is going to be she's going to be the best player on the floor that night, and but Oak Hill, they're athletic and they've got size and
Mm-hmm.
they can cause trouble for kids, and that should be a fun game. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know if any of the four Grant Four teams will be able to challenge. Probably Mississinawa is the best equipped to maybe challenge Oak Hill, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're in the same neighborhood right now.
And here's what Oak Hill head coach Kevin Renbarger had to say about the win.
That was a hard-fought victory. Obviously, a low-scoring game. Had an opportunity a couple of times to push the lead out to 9 points, once in the first half and then once in the second half. But give Mississinawa credit; they never quit or really think that a lead is too big that they can't come back from, and did a nice job of fighting back. Got the lead to within one, but we were able to make a couple of key stops at the end, and then hit our free throws to seal the deal towards the end. So we'll take it. It was ugly. Both teams did not shoot well. I thought both teams played pretty good defense, but we were able to get some timely stops when we needed them and convert convert at the end.
What did you think? What did you feel like was the difference?
We just got enough on the defensive end, to be honest with you. Our defense was a lot better than it was Saturday against Norwell. Jace had 22 points and RJ had 15. We only had one other person score a basket for us, and that was Owen Middlesworth with an and one. So, I think that's a direct result of the first time, RJ and Jace have been in a number of big games last year, but this is the first foray into a cross-county rival. The gym was electric with both student sections tonight. There was a lot on the line, and the rest of our kids struggled to handle it at moments, and so they relied a lot on Jace and RJ. So moving forward, obviously, we hope we get more out of them. But, in the meantime, we were able to get enough stops. We limited them to one shot a lot of times, not every time. And then, again, able to just kind of do what we needed to do at the end to hold on.
And a big win to put you right in the middle of the CIC race going forward.
Yeah, it's a tough start for us. It always has been, and at least has been for the last couple of years. The, conference has really kind of boiled down in the last 5 or 6, 7 years to Madison-Grant-Elwood, Frankton, or Oak Hill.
Right.
And so for us to have to, play Madison-Grant-Elwood at Madison-Grant-Elwood and come back and play what I think is a very, very good, obviously well-coached Frankton team, that's kind of a gauntlet to start your CIC play with. So it would have been very difficult if we would have lost this game. As far as we're concerned, the only way you're going to, kind of control your own destiny is to win out and try to win every basketball game. We can't rely on help from anyone else. And so this puts us in a position to continue to talk about that.
Yeah, beating good teams on the road, that's always special.
It is, especially when it's a cross-county rival.
Right.
It obviously helps your kids grow up a little bit.
Yeah, anytime you beat Madison-Grant-Elwood. And now you got to turn around and do it back-to-back nights for the first time this season. What are you hoping to see tomorrow night against Marion-Richmond?
That's a really good question. We always kind of struggle and come out flat with this one, and that's obviously what I'm hoping not to see. We put so much into this particular game because of the magnitude of the game. Marion-Richmond is going to get the ball out of the net. They're going to run it up the floor. They're going to turn around and press you 100% of the time. It's a track meet, and tonight was an absolute war. Jace played 32 minutes tonight, and RJ played 30, and so we're getting a lot of fluids in those guys, a lot of electrolytes, getting them to bed early, and be ready for a track meet. The game should be fun. We like the game up and down as well, and so it should be fun. But we've got to make sure that we take care of our bodies between now and then.
Oak Hill hosts 2-0 Marion-Richmond Saturday. Marion-Richmond beat Wabash 71-44 Friday, led by senior star Josiah Ball, one of the state's leading scorers. Mississinawa has another big CIC game Friday at home against Madison-Grant, the lone remaining unbeaten team in the Central Indiana Conference. Indians head coach Josh Brooks said Friday's win was a great game if you love defense.
Just back and forth and everything that you would anticipate a big CIC Grant County game to be, full of a lot of defense. So if you like scoring, maybe not your cup of tea. From my perspective, just very disappointing. We turned the ball over a lot again, and not even against their pressure per se, but turned it over probably too many times in a 2-point game. Turned it over, I think, 15, which is too many, which led to like 12 points for Jace Tonigal, I believe. And, then he had another 10 in the half court. So he scores 22, and then Schugert scores another 14, I think. And that's really it. And I feel like for us, that's what we wanted to do. But we just weren't able to find the points needed to, end up on top. So, kind of a frustrating game for us because we feel like, we did the things that we needed to do. came up short offensively.
All right. Well, now you get to put that one behind you. Next weekend, you have your first double weekend. What are you looking forward to between now and then, seeing your team improve during the week of practice?
Well, I am typically a big time defensive guy, and, we're going to be good defensively and we're going to hold teams, to a certain amount of points. And I feel like this team is very good defensively, but I think we're going to maybe have to flip the script a little bit and, focus in on offense and how we can find scores better and get more shots up in practice so we're more confident, taking the shots we can get and, doing those types of things. Gonna have to get on film, obviously focused a ton on tonight. Haven't really peaked a ton at Madison-Grant, maybe a little bit at Lapel. I know Madison-Grant got a good win tonight against Elwood. And Lapel is a typical, very, very good 1A school, probably bigger than 1A, or at least have better athletes than 1A, typically getting some of those indie kids. So, a really tough 2 games ahead of us. But, again, I love these kids. I love their effort. I love their work ethic. And, I think we're just going to continue to climb the mountain.
And who played well for you tonight, Coach?
Keontae Woods, again, was outstanding, had 16 points, really battled hard inside, rebounding and finishing. Ian Newsom, I don't think he came off the floor tonight and was tasked with guarding Jace, and I felt like he did a super job with that along with his teammates, but he was the primary defender there. Ravion Fetts, I felt like for his first conference county game, did pretty solid, hit 3 threes for us, ended up with 9. Tyvon Jacobs Van Landingham came off the bench, and I felt like he played really, really solid for us. I think he had 8 or 10. So those guys obviously stood out. Looking forward to looking at film, getting a chance to kind of see, who else played well and where we can improve.
Frankton is 2-2 after a 50-33 win over Eastbrook in their Central Indiana Conference opener. Eastbrook was the only team entering the contest with a conference win. The Panthers are now 2-3. Sophomore Trey Bennett had 18 points on 9 of 12 shooting for the Eagles, with 10 rebounds, 7 coming on the offensive end. He also had 2 block shots. Senior Joey Wright had 11 points, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 3 rebounds. And senior Brady Carmack had 8 points, 8 rebounds, 5 steals, and 4 assists. I asked Frankton head coach Brent Brobston how he felt about his team's performance.
I really like the fact that the way we finished the game. We finished the game on a 24-6 run to pull away from them, and I think giving us that cushion. I think we were up 10 going into the fourth quarter, and then we were able to get the lead to close to 18 and just kind of maintain it and keep it there. I thought our kids showed some resilience and some toughness in the second half that they maybe didn't show in the second quarter.
Yeah, it's tough to lose, though, when you get off to a good start and close strong, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's you're exactly right. Great start in the first quarter, closed strong, and second quarter was rough, but
yeah,
we were able to, kind of reestablish ourselves in the third quarter.
Who played well for you, Coach?
Trey Bennett had a really good game for us tonight. He had 18 points and 10 rebounds. He was huge for us underneath the rim. They didn't really have an answer for him. And Joey Wright was solid for us with 11 points. And Carmack had 8 points. Noah Melvin was defensively, I thought, just phenomenal for us. And Stansbury was able to knock down a big shot for us in the third quarter to kind of stretch the lead. I thought defensively he was good. And Javon Miller and Blake Nickham, they provided really good minutes off the bench and gave us some energy and some motivation that we needed early in the second quarter. So really happy with the team effort. Eli Birch came in also and played a couple of minutes there as well. So it was a good team win, and I thought the ball was shared well, and we had multiple double-figure scores, so that was important.
Madison-Grant remains unbeaten at 3-0 after beating rival Elwood 52-34 on Friday night. It was the CIC opener for the Argyles. Madison-Grant outscored Elwood 32-20 in the second half to pull away for the win. Luke Gilman led the Argyles with 19 points. He had 11 of those points in the second quarter when Madison-Grant took control. He had a late three in the first half to help the Argyles lead 20-12 at the break. Gilman says the Argyles are 3-0 because
I think our teamwork. We all have a love for each other. We don't care who shoots it. We all want to spread the ball out. I mean, every game you can look at the box score. It's someone has 10, 9, 8, 6, 5. It's all spread out. We don't have one guy scoring 30 and then everyone else getting the scraps. So I feel like that's been an important part.
This stretch tonight, you had a good stretch there. Was that a decision that you made, or did it just kind of happen?
I feel like it just kind of happens. You start, it started with my one layup, then I got the steal, next layup, and then we got the stop on defense. And I was feeling it. The crowd was feeling it. I get it, and you don't even think about it. It just you just feel it, and you just go with it.
Senior center Ike Almeida scored 10 of his 12 points in the second half. Senior forward Levi Nelson added 9 points. Senior guard Xander Gillespie 6. And senior Xavier Yegi finished with 5. I asked Almeida what's been the key to the 3-0 start.
Our defense has been playing really good this year so far. And offense is good enough to win, but it'll keep getting better. So,
talk about the run that Luke went on. Talk a little bit about his game.
Yeah, Luke's good. He's stepping into himself as a player a lot this year. I mean, him and I were both on JV a lot last year, but you can really see him stepping up.
Madison-Grant hosts 0-4 Lewis Cass on Saturday. I listened in on Elijah Poe's conversation with Madison-Grant head coach Josh Hendrickson, with both of their permission, of course.
Like Gilman going a run like he did, how big of an impact does that make in the game, but for the team as well?
Well, when you struggle to score the basketball like we do, when you have a guy go on a run like that, it's absolutely huge. Because I don't know if you've seen us play much, but we're not really the 2018 Golden State Warriors. So when we have a guy go for 8 or 9 in a row, it's a pretty big deal.
Start 3-0 in the season. Just how big is that for confidence going forward? Just start of the season.
It's big. I mean, it's a group that they expect to succeed. They expect to do well. They come out and compete every day. We got a lot of guys in here. I'm in the morning getting shots up. Getting ready each week to compete against teams, compete in this CIC conference. So, anytime you can start 3-0, I mean, it's a big deal no matter who you played. So, it can only help confidence. It can't do anything to hurt for sure.
You guys force Elwood to force a lot of turnovers. How much is defense a part of your guys' identity?
I think it is our identity right now. I mean, I don't know how many we gave up tonight, but coming into the night, we were giving up 30 points a game. So, defense is something we've had to rely on to this point in the season. I hope it's not something that we have to solely rely on the entire season. I'm hoping our offense catches up and we can be a little bit more of a balanced team in that way. But right now, it is our identity.
Lewis Cass tomorrow night. What are you looking to see from your team?
Well, I mean, we're gonna have to switch it up to a new gear tomorrow night. Lewis Cass, I know they haven't had success yet this year, but if you've seen any film of them, they've got athletes. They have 2 6'3" guards who can get to the rim and attack. They're the type of team who can rebound and be physical. So, we got to get in here at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, have our walkthrough, go through scouting report, and be locked in come 7:30 tomorrow night for Lewis Cass.
Elwood was led by senior Jaden Mullins, who had 18 points. He was the only Panther to score more than 3. Even in a third straight loss, Elwood head coach Ryan Van Skyok saw a lot that he liked.
I thought our defense was really good the first quarter and then the second quarter a little bit, but again, we struggled to hit free throws and some wide open shots we had again. But I felt like we did a really good job of battling with the post guys inside. We are not very big, and it was a great sight to see how those kids. We started a freshman and sophomore tonight. That was great to see, have them get a little experience. We feel like if we can start scoring offensively the way we play defensively, we can be pretty good. So. We told them to keep their heads up. I mean, we're only not even a quarter in the season, so we got a long ways to go, and they continue to keep fighting and getting better. We think we can make a little run towards the end of it.
And just imagine if the 5 or 6 missed layups go in, the difference that it makes in this game.
Yeah, that's killed us. Free throws and missed layups or shots around the rim, I mean, just absolutely kills us. You think about it, I mean, we miss a layup, they get out in trans, they scored a layup. I mean, it's a 4-point swing just like that. So we got to focus. We really focused on that. We got to do a much better job of hitting our shots and allowing our defense to set up.
And what about the job Jaden did getting to the basket early in the game?
Yeah, I got upset with him a little bit because he was taking outside shots, and I'm like, you got to understand, nobody can guard you tonight. You've been getting to the rim every single time. Like, you can't settle for a shot because you don't shoot the three very well. So I thought he did a much better job of the second half after we got after him a little bit of getting to the rim and scoring. He's a really outstanding basketball player. He don't believe he's very good at basketball, and we try to tell him all the time, is like, he's not been playing very long, and what you see out of him, and I hope he goes play basketball in college because some team is going to work with that kid, and he's going to be something special.
Blackford opened CIC play with a 66-53 win over winless Alexandria. The Bruins are now 3-1 overall with 3 wins in a row. Alexandria's 0-4. Blackford first-year head coach Aaron Daniels said it was great getting off to a strong start in the CIC. Plus, they got a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, 3 in a row, and then I wasn't aware that they actually had the horseshoe. So we were presented with the horseshoe tonight. So that was really cool and meant a lot to our kids. So that was really neat.
Well, who played well for you, Coach?
Maury Leggett, the freshman tonight, he was all over the place. He had 18 points. We haven't started the game. We just have our offensive possession chart. So we had him down for 6 assists and 5 rebounds. And I'm sure when we get on film, there's going to be a lot more than that. I mean, we probably had 14, 15 steals tonight. We were extremely active. We had 4 in double figures, which, we try to get 3. So to have 4 was incredible. And we, Gage Baker, our senior leader, he's averaging about 16 a game. He only had 2 points in the first half. He really struggled, and we had some other kids step up. And Kentrell Toomer had 10 tonight for us. He's averaging about 4, so it was a big night for him. A lot of run-out steals, got some layups. But Maury Leggett was fantastic tonight for a freshman.
Best start for the program in 3 years. You got to like that.
Yeah, we're excited. We knew we had a lot of talent. We're playing better. We're still not to where we want to be, which, nobody wants to be, at their finished product 4 games into the year, but we're really excited for the start.
After 4 straight CIC games, let's turn to our only independent. 2A number 1 Wapahani knocked off 2A number 9 Lapel 55-44. The Raiders are now 4-0. Lapel is 2-2. Here's the Herald Bulletin's Rob Hunt with a report.
Well, Rob, I talked to Kevin Cherry tonight, and he basically said the difference was Wapahani's just really good. There are some things he'd like to have seen a little better, but the bottom line was teams are going to be chasing Wapahani this year.
Yeah, I guess you don't need me. I mean, that's basically what happened. I mean, they come out and they just, one guy hits a 3, and then it's a different guy, and then there's the 3 guy. I think they hit 9, and there were 4 different guys that shot him. I mean, it was they're an impressive team. I mean, they don't. Not only did they shoot the ball real well, they don't turn it over. They had 3 turnovers tonight, and one of those was an offensive foul, which some count as a turnover, some don't. I do.
It is.
It is. Thank you. But and to Lapel's credit, they're short a player. And they still battled back in the second half. They were down, I believe, 18 was as big as it got.
Right.
But they battled back. They cut it to 8 and had the ball actually, but couldn't get the score that time down. So for them to play, like, I think it was kind of a mixed bag. The way I approached Coach Cherry after the game was, this is one of those measuring stick games, if you want to call it that, early in the year. And he couldn't have liked much of what he saw in the first half, and he probably liked a lot of what he saw in the second half. That's kind of what he was saying. They didn't defend very well in the first half, but in the second half, the intensity and the fight was there.
And the player who was missing, of course, is the player we've been talking about all week, who is such an important piece to the team.
Yeah, Quinn Wilkins. He does so many things as a guard. He can score it, he can shoot, he really handles the ball well. They didn't commit Lapel didn't commit a lot of turnovers either. I mean, they only committed 8, which is not a terrible number, except the other team only committed 3. But yeah, Quinn Wilkins was out with an illness. I guess he tried to go. He wanted to play, but when you're sick for overnight and then most of the morning, it's a big game, but at the same time, it's still December. I mean, you want him to be healthy later in the year, and you don't want to risk anything by getting the rest of the team sick or anything like that. So he stayed home, and would it have made the difference, win or loss? Can't say that. It might help, but Owen Garber gets his first varsity start. He played well in his place.
Right.
He hit a bucket, grabbed some rebounds, had a couple assists. So, his absence didn't cost him the game, I don't think, by any stretch, but it might have made it a little more interesting.
And Coach Cherry said the way his team played in the second half gives him no concern about turning around and playing tomorrow at 2:00.
Right. They go over to get to play at the field house tomorrow over Muncie against Burris. A different level of competition.
Yes.
But it's still it would be a nice atmosphere there at the field house. Get to play in that venue. They've got that, and then they come around next week with back-to-back weekend home games, Monroe Central and Mississippi, and neither one of those are going to be easy. So, I think he's right. I think they saw some things they want to work on, but they saw some things they liked. Brody Judge, I spoke with him after the game. He was honored prior to the game for his 1,000th point he scored last week. He said, he has no worries about this team. He's confident. He knows they've got some things to clean up, but they'll be good by the end of the year.
And that's exactly what it sounds like. Thanks so much, Rob. Appreciate your time as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I throw in one more thing? I'm
Sure.
sure you guys have already talked about it. Can we give a round of applause or something for Courtney Licklider and the Elwood Lady Panthers tonight? It's been a hard climb back for that program, basically since the passing of Craig Brunnemer, who I believe is a friend of both of ours.
Yes.
And the last time they won a conference game was 2018. He was coaching at the time. He passed away a couple years later, but they break through tonight, get a big win. And I know Madison-Grant's struggling, and Jace Martin's a nice guy. He's a great guy coaching for them, but they're going to struggle. But hats off to Elwood, breaking through and getting that conference win. I should have counted up the number. They probably don't want to know how many losses it had been in a row, but certainly it's been a long time since they got a win. So hats off to those ladies for getting it done tonight.
Yeah, and 8 wins already.
How about that?
It is great to be an Elwood Panther. Wapahani is at 3-2 Hagerstown on Saturday for the first of 3 back-to-back weekends. Lapel has a super quick turnaround. The Bulldogs face winless Burris at Saturday's Muncie Fieldhouse Classic. That game starts at 2. I will be there with a report, assuming I'm able to get up early enough to get out there after a long, long Friday night after coming off being sick for a couple of days. I also hope to meet Coach Cherry, who's been nice enough to join us a few times in the last few days. His number one impression of the game was that Wapahani was just really good.
Yeah, everything is advertised. Extremely well coached. Guys play hard. They shot the ball at a very high level tonight, and got on us early, and we responded in the second half. It was just a little too much to overcome ultimately.
Yeah, and it looks like Camden Bell's really turned into a go-to scorer for them.
Yeah, he had 18 tonight for them, and he scores it. He shoots a 3 really well with great range, and then in ball screen action, he puts a lot of pressure on the basket, and so if you trap that or try to hard hedge that, they have other shooters too, and he typically finds the open man if you try to double team him. So he's a difficult guard for sure.
So it looks like Brody Judge played well. Anybody else stand out for you tonight, Coach?
Well, Quinn Wilkins was out due to an illness tonight, and so Owen Garber, sophomore for us, got his first start tonight. And I thought he was just solid. For a sophomore to step in and starting his first game in an atmosphere like that tonight, I thought he handled that moment really well. Bodie Judge draws so much attention. He ended up with 7, but he also had 9 rebounds. We had him for 9 rebounds, and we out-rebounded them. And we thought coming into the game, if that was a category we could win that stat, then we may have a great chance to pull off an upset. And we did win that stat, but we didn't. And I think part of that too is we only got to the foul line 4 times, and we got to do a little bit better job of being able to attack the basket and getting fouled and get to the foul line to get easy baskets. Again, to pull off that type of an upset.
Quick turnaround on Saturday. It's not an easy thing to do, to go back-to-back nights, much less come back at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But I think we're going to be okay. And here's why I say that. Not anything to do with anybody who we play or anything like that, but we're down 32-16 at halftime, and our guys could have certainly have folded and kind of chalked it up, but we come out and we actually win the second half, 28-23. And what that tells me is we've got a locker room full of kids that want to fight, kids that want to win. And so I expect us to be ready to play tomorrow, and we'll have to play well, and we got to play to our standard and all those types of things. But I think our guys want to get back out and play right away.
Western won its 4th game in a row and its biggest one yet, taking down Class 2A number 6 Tipton 42-32 in the upset of the night. Western is now 4-1 overall. It was their Hoosier Conference opener. Tipton is 2-1 and 0-1 in the conference. Western was led by freshman guard Eli Mast, who had another big game with 11 points. Junior Carter Biggs added 10. Here's Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune with Western head coach Cam Bennington, the reigning Central Indiana Sports Report Coach of the Week, who's definitely now in the running to win it in back-to-back weeks.
Cam, a nice win for the Panthers tonight, and I thought you guys executed very well, especially there in the second half.
Yeah, I'm really proud of our kids, and you're exactly right. And we had a game plan. We thought it was a pretty good one, but at the end of the day, and I kind of alluded to this the last time we talked, it's up to the kids to execute the game plan, and then they did that at a really, really high level tonight. And Tipton's a really good team. Like, it's not like we just snuck out a win against an average team. Like, they are a really good team with some really good players, and that's just kudos to our kids for executing what we asked them to. And every time it felt like Tipton was trying to make a run or throw a punch to get back into the game, we took it in stride and just stayed true to our game plan, and really, really proud of our kids.
And you answered with big shots. That run there at the end of the third quarter with the the buzzer, I thought that really was nice. I know Tipton, and then as soon as Tipton got within 3 there in the fourth quarter, you guys your kids were like boom and just controlled the final.
Yeah, and the end of the third quarter, we were trying to hold for one shot, and then we ended up taking a quick shot, and then Tipton had a chance and thought they were going to get the last shot, and then ball bounced the right way, and we got the last bucket there. But like you said, Tipton came out firing in the fourth quarter, made their run, got back into it. But like you said, it's just a testament to our kids and the fortitude and the mental toughness they had tonight to every time we got knocked down to stand back up and stay true to the game plan and what we were trying to accomplish defensively. And offensively, we did some nice things. Tipton had a great game plan defensively too. We struggled to score, but really we won this game with our defense, and we've kind of done that the last couple games. We're kind of becoming a team with a strong defensive identity, and the next step is probably to get our offense to catch up to the defensive side of the ball.
Now, tomorrow you get to go to Rossville. Are you interested to see how your kids come back after a big conference win? Because you had that emotional high, and how do they come back out road trip ready to play? Yeah,
absolutely. And Russell's a tough place to play. It's a smaller gym, and they got a fan base that loves basketball, and they pack that place. And I don't know how they did tonight, but they were 4-0 coming into tonight, and I think they were expected to win tonight. So if that happens, they're going to be 5-0, feeling really, really good and getting to play us, and they're going to be just as excited to play us as we were excited to play tonight. So I'm excited to see how we respond. I thought last weekend we had a big win on Friday night, and we didn't respond well. And the score is one thing, but I thought the way we played wasn't great on Saturday. And I told him, I said, that's not going to be good enough this week. Rossville's good enough to beat us, and a competitive team with some really nice players. So we're going to have to be ready to play tomorrow night. It's a tough weekend for us, but step one's complete, and now we'll go out to step 2 tomorrow.
The Panthers will look to make it 5 straight, their longest winning streak since December and January of 2022 and 2023. At Class A number 6 Rossville Saturday night, the Hornets took their first loss Friday, 73-70 at home against Frontier. For Tipton, senior Grady Carpenter had 11.6 rebounds and 4 assists. Here's Michelle Garmon's conversation with Tipton head coach Cliff Hawkins following the game.
Coach, tough one. I mean, you had a couple stretches where you played well, had some stretches where shots didn't go down, but then kind of there at the end, critical times, too many turnovers.
Yeah, well, yeah, but we just don't have a consistency of where we can score from. You know, we need outside shooting. We need a free throw line threat. We need a guy behind the defense stepping in and making power shots by the rim. And we just have to go to work on that and see if we can do something with that. Some of these guys, they want to play varsity basketball, but you have to be able to perform, and we just have to keep working with them. We said this team would have a lot of learning lessons, and I think this one is a real learning lesson for us, because it was a winnable game. We could have, when it was just 1 at the half, we try to make adjustments, but we can't have Grady pass it to himself, run to the middle, run to the baseline, pass it to himself. We've got to have better recognition, and so we do have a little bit of work to do, but and it comes at us so fast because we got to play at 4:00 tomorrow and then Muncie on Tuesday. So we got to find a way we can play here in the next few days.
Are you kind of anxious to see how the team responds tomorrow tomorrow with the short turnaround, being that they are, I should say, the young kids, because you know how your seniors are going to come. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. And I think we just need to get doing that in practice, and that'll help us a lot.
Hamilton Heights is 3-2 after an easy 88-50 win over Logansport. The Huskies have won 3 of their last 4. They play Muncie Central at Saturday's Muncie Fieldhouse Classic. That game is scheduled for 4:00. The host Bearcats are 1-2 after beating Adams Central 57-48 on the road Monday. On Friday night, Heights dominated Logansport from start to finish. They led 26-4 at the end of the first quarter. Logansport's now 2-2 and 0-1 in the conference. They'd won 2 straight coming in. Marion defeated Richmond 73-59 in the Giants North Central Conference opener. They are now 3-1 overall. Richmond is 1-3 and has lost 3 straight. Grant Shouse called the game for the Action Sports Network and has a report for us.
Wow, Grant, that was an impressive win by the Giants.
Yeah, good win for them tonight. Always important to start off good in conference play. I've said it once on here. I've said it a million times. Marion got off to a cold shooting start. I think they missed their first 6 or 7 from the field, and Richmond hit everything. Richmond was up. They were up 10-0 at one point in the game, and
wow,
Marion was able to battle back. Tim Jones is just such a great player for Marion. Very athletic. Marion's just had the right guys step up at the right times for them this year. J.J. Smith again tonight, like he was in the Hamilton Southeastern game last week, was big tonight. He had 17 points tonight. Tim Jones with 27. Richmond's also a really good team, really well-coached team. And I was just on the radio talking about it on 105.9 The Bash. I just told Wade Weaver, I was like, the story of the game tonight, I think, was some technical fouls that happened. Richmond head coach Billy Wright was hit with a technical in the first half. And of course, a lot of people know when you get a technical, you have to sit.
Right.
If you're a coach, you have to sit. And then Tim Jones and Logan Barnes for Marion both got hit with a. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Both got hit with technicals at 2 separate times during the game. So, and the technicals that happened, they weren't like obvious technical fouls. They were, there wasn't a shove. There wasn't, an obscene gesture made or whatever it was. It was just it was just talking. It was just taunting. And I don't know what Billy Wright said for Richmond to warrant a technical, but the officials must have thought it was. Both teams, like I've said before, very well coached. Good win for Marion tonight. It was a 3-point game going to the fourth quarter. Marion was up 52-49 and then just blew it open. And when the lead got to 10, you felt like it was over, but then Richmond Marion was up 65-59, and then Richmond actually cut it to 6, and then J.J. Smith hit a big layup to go back up 8, and that's pretty much it. Richmond didn't score. Marion hit shots down the stretch and won 73-59, but good solid play for Marion. They're 3-1. They get Wabash tomorrow. They very well, after tomorrow night can be 4-1. Going into a tough week. Yeah, should be. I know Huntington North coming up, and then they got a big month of January where they got Lawrence North, Westfield, Carmel coming up soon. So a big stepping stone tonight, working towards what's going to be a crucial 2025. I mean, 2025, when the calendar flips over, is going to be big for Marion because, like I said, they got those big opponents coming up, the Indianapolis area schools. And
well, next Friday is Kokomo at Kokomo. So
another big North Central Conference matchup. And, those Marion Kokomo games are always intense. And that one's at Memorial Gym over there. And that was going to be a fun one. But, Greg, before I go, I want to end. I kind of want to end with this. I was stunned to see Western knocked off Tipton tonight by 10.
Yeah. Cam Bennington's getting the job done, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's a great coach, and he's a great guy to talk to.
Yes, he is.
And, he's got Western's playing great basketball right now. That's a team that, obviously I wouldn't want to play right now. And
what are your thoughts on calling a game from Richmond your first time?
I did the Marion-Richmond football game there in September. And so when I was there, I was able to step inside and see the gym for the first time. And for me, I'm trying to cross as many gyms off my list that I've been to, not just seen a game, but just have been in the gym, just to say I've been there. And I was able to cross that gym off the list then. So I got sent here tonight, and, the setup was good. The only bad part, and if somebody listened to the game, then they'll probably be able to agree with me. The only bad part is the band is pretty much like right over your shoulder.
You're right, it is.
So,
yeah, for a newspaper reporter, that's not a bad thing. But when you're on the air, that probably isn't good.
Exactly. Yeah. And the band did a great job tonight. But
your listeners
really
heard all of it.
Huh?
Your listeners heard all of it.
Oh yeah, they did. And it was kind of good because usually when you come back from a break, there's this little clip of music that plays. It's like a bumper music. We call it a bumper music. Well, I didn't have to play the bumper music at all tonight, really, because the band, during a break when the band was playing, I was able to just turn my mic up, and before I started talking, they'd hear the band. So it kind of played it in my favor. But good place to watch a game. I mean, if you're a basketball fan and you've not been to Richmond, get there and watch a game. Indiana is just so blessed to have gyms like that. That the Bill Green Athletic Arenas, the Tiernan Centers, the Newcastle Field Houses of the world, that are so lucky to, have these gyms nearby in Indiana, and people got to get out and go see a game there.
Kokomo is 4-0. Their first 4-0 start in 12 years after beating McCutcheon 84-67. Senior guard Zion Bellamy continues to have a huge start to his senior year. He had 30 points, going 5 for 10 from the three-point line. Senior guard Davion Young had 21 points, and senior Max Fewerly contributed 10 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 steals. The Wildcats host Lebanon on Saturday. Lebanon beat Western Boone 52-22 on Friday to improve to 3-1. McCutcheon is 3-2 after starting the season 3-0 and reaching the Lafayette City Championship. Sophomore guard Brady Baker had 22 and senior Brody Reiki 21 in the loss. Eastern defeated Tri-Central 71-61 in both teams. Who's your Heartland Conference opener? Eastern junior Colton Lindsay went for 41 points in the win. Tri-Central is now 1-2 overall. Senior Drake Ramsier, 19 points and 5 rebounds. Junior Jay Jankoviak, 15 points and 10 boards in the loss. Also for the Trojans, junior Logan Sargent had 12. Tri-Central head coach Cam Hindman said he thought his team played pretty well. They just couldn't stop Colton Lindsay.
There's not a whole lot to say. Or we had what we thought was going to be a decent game plan. We were running fresh legs in about every 2 to 3 minutes on him, and he was tough to control tonight. I thought they did a good job, more so defensive. I know Lindsay had a really good game, but I thought Eastern won the game based off of their defense, and they really got in our guards' head, and our guards didn't respond well to it. Saying that, we had guards that scored well. But there were a lot of intangibles that our guards struggled with, and all I can do is credit Eastern's defense with that. I thought they had a pretty good game plan. I don't think it was a lot different than the game plan they've had in the last 2 games that they've played, but it worked well, and we struggled a little bit moving the ball offensively. We couldn't penetrate the top of their zone very well, and we couldn't make better use of our interior players tonight, which I thought that was kind of an opportunity that we missed. But now, credit to the Lindsay kid. He dropped 41 on us, and he was good every single quarter. His least productive quarter, rather, was the second, and he had 6 in that quarter. So that's just he was the man tonight.
And for your team, Ramsier, 19 points and 5 rebounds. Jankoviak, 15 and 10. And Sargent scored 12. Anything that you did that you felt like you improved from your last time out?
Yeah, and it's hard to say after a game like this where we've improved. Obviously, our offensive production improved a lot, and it's one of the bummers here is to score 62 points. We had 3 guys in double figures and lost the game, and that's kind of the stinger on a game like this. But no, I thought we got some scoring out of guys that we haven't gotten scoring out of before. Tanner England had 4 points. We got Logan Yance back playing tonight, and Yance had 7. I'll mention we put in a freshman guard for the fourth quarter, Cooper Leininger, and Cooper came in and did a lot of really good things for us. He finally was able to penetrate the seams of the top of their zone. He hit a 3-pointer, so he was pretty excited about that. So there's his first varsity points came from the 3-point line. So everybody had smiles for that. But yeah, I think the improvement obviously is we scored the ball much better, and more so like we can score the ball versus the last couple of games. And really defensively, we didn't do a terrible job everywhere else. We just couldn't control the Lindsay kid, and when he would get in the paint, we didn't help over. We didn't have guys in the gaps, and either he scored or he was able to kick out to open guys that we didn't get closed out on fast enough. So just a couple of negatives either way, and we fixed those, and it can be a little bit of a different game.
The good news, of course, is you get to come back and do it all again tomorrow, hit the road again at Alexandria. What are you hoping to see from your team on Saturday?
Well, to be able to control the game for one. I think Alexandria can be a little bit of a dangerous team. They're hungry. I don't know if they won tonight or not, but I know they were 0-4 before that. So
they did not. No, they're
okay,
0-4 now.
0-4 now. Okay. So they're very hungry, and this is their first game on their floor. And as we talked about the other day, it's a brand new floor. So there's some things for them to be excited about.
Absolutely.
And quite frankly, they should be looking at us as as this is a possibility for them to get that 0 knocked off of the winning side for them. So what we've got to do is come in again, play our game of basketball, follow our game plan. And honestly, we've got to get kids to buy into what we're trying to do. And I think if we do that, we're going to be just fine throughout the remainder of the season. I think we're just kind of struggling to find an identity right now. And as soon as we do, we'll be okay.
Both teams are back in action Saturday. Eastern hosts 3-1 Southwood, which took its first loss 71-59 against Peru on Friday. Tri-Central goes to winless Alexandria. Taylor is 4-0 for the second time in 3 years. After defeating Northwestern 45-36, Taylor hosts 2-2 Delphi in an HHC contest next Friday. Northwestern is 2-2 and has 0 time to recover. The Tigers host 0-4 Frankfort Saturday. Sheridan won its third straight game, 53-33, over Clinton Central, and is now 2-0 in the Hoosier Heartland. Clinton Central is 0-4 for the second straight year. For Sheridan, junior forward Devin Hamilton had 23 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. Senior guard Caleb Bright, 15 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and 5 steals. Sophomore Trey Page had 2 points, 7 points, and 2 steals. Sheridan hosts Eastern in another crucial HHC contest on Friday. Mount Vernon beat Pendleton Heights 44-39. Pendleton is 1-4 for the third straight season. It was the Arabians' Hoosier Heritage opener. Pendleton was led by Cooper Sims, who had 11 points, and Hayden Fox, who had 9. The Arabians go to Noblesville to face Class 3A number 3 Garin Catholic on Tuesday. Mount Vernon is 4-1 and 2-0 in the conference after their 6th straight win over Pendleton. Junior guard Luke Ertl, 21 points. The Marauders are at 4A number 11 and unbeaten Anderson on Tuesday. Delta beat rival Yorktown once again. The Eagles are now 3-1 overall and 1-0 in the Hoosier Heritage Conference. The Eagles had a 9 rebound advantage in the win. Yorktown is now 3-1 overall and 0-1 in the conference. The Tigers had 13 turnovers, 5 of which came in a critical fourth quarter. Delta had just 4 turnovers in the entire game. Senior forward Jordan Fernie had 19 points to lead Delta. Junior guard Lucas Bragg had 12. Senior forward Bronson Edwards, 11. Delta faces Tipton at 4 o'clock at the Muncie Fieldhouse on Saturday. Yorktown got 14 points from senior Austin Cates. Junior forward Connor Roway had all 12 of his points in the fourth quarter on 4 3-pointers. 2 of the Tigers' top 3 scorers, Jabin Barnes and Efren Doherty, were both held to 4 points. Yorktown faces 4-1 Garin Catholic at 8 o'clock at Muncie Central on Saturday. West Dell blew out Union 78-31. The Warriors are now 3-1 overall and 1-1 in the Mid-Eastern Conference. They face Monroe Central at the Fieldhouse in about 5 minutes. Actually, noon Saturday, the first of 5 games at the Fieldhouse. West Dell had 24-4 at the end of the first and 57-15 at the half. Blue River Valley beat Cowan 65-60 in overtime in a game that featured 2 teams that were 0-4 coming in. Cowan's now 0-5 and 0-2 in the Mid-Eastern. They led 41-28 through 3 quarters. They go to 4-1 try on Friday. Blue River is now 1-4. Centerville beat Daleville 81-43. Daleville is now 0-3 and hosts 1-3 Eastern Hancock in the Mid-Eastern Conference contest on Saturday. The Broncos are 0-2 in conference play. Eastern Hancock is 1-0 and 0-3 in all of their other games. Centerville is now 3-2 and appears to be quite legit. Before we go to the Central Indiana Sports Report, player of the night, and then a very brief Saturday preview. I know while you've been listening to this podcast, you've been thinking, I know somebody who would really like this podcast. Please do us a huge favor and share this segment with them now. The Central Indiana Sports Report Boys Basketball Player of the Night for Friday, December 13th is Eastern junior guard Colton Lindsay, who put up 41 points in the Comets' 71-61 Hoosier Heartland Conference win in Greentown. All right, to Saturday's games. Let me go through the schedule for the Muncie Fieldhouse Classic. First at noon, 2-1 Monroe Central against 3-1 West Dell in a good Mid-Eastern Conference game. At 2 o'clock is 2-2 Lapel against 0-4 Burris. At 4 is 3-1 Delta against 2-1 Tipton, probably the best game of the night. 3-2 Hamilton Heights takes on the host Bearcats, which is 1-2 at 6 o'clock. And then at 8 is 3-1 Yorktown against 4-1 Guerin Catholic. That should be a good one, too. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 1-4 Elwood goes to 2-1 Bluffton, where Ryan Van Skyok will take on his mentor, Craig Teagle. And here are the rest of Saturday's games. We've mentioned almost all of them already, hence the very short previews. By the way, the rest of these games start approximately at 7:30. 1-2 Tri-Central is at 0-4 Alexandria. 0-4 Cass visits 3-0 Madison-Grant. 3-2 Oak Hill hosts unbeaten Mechaniqua. Unbeaten Anderson is the only team that plays Saturday that did not play on Friday night locally. They host 3-2 Northrop. Marion hosts 0-5 Wabash. The Giants are 3-1. 3-1 Lebanon goes to 4-0 Kokomo. 4-1 Western is on fire and goes to 4-1 Rossville. Southwood is 3-1 and goes to Eastern, which improved to 2-1 on Friday. Winless Frankfort visits 2-2 Northwestern, which started 2-0 and has lost 2 in a row. 1-3 Eastern Hancock faces 0-3 Daleville in a Mid-Eastern Conference game. And 4-0 Wapahani, the number 1 team in Class 2A, visits 3-2 Hagerstown. And now you know everything we know about the Central Indiana Sports Report. Night, y'all. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I very much love Susie.